I hit 5 IEDs. He had a massive cane.
Take a minute, pal. You alright?
Welcome to PTSD to Paul, our first podcast. I thought I'd take the opportunity and do the first cast about myself to show it's okay to speak out. Today, I've got Kieran with me. We're going to be speaking about the most commonly asked questions from the public. Over to Kieran.
Morning, mate.
No,
Thanks for letting me grill you on these.
no problem.
So, we'll get into it. So, what and why were the reason you joined the forces in the beginning?
So, when we were at school, a couple of lads, their brothers were in forces. So it was something where when we were young, it were a common thing to join forces. It were one of them where it were one of well-paid jobs, to be fair. And with our background being jokers at school and stuff like that, it were one of them where it were an easy job to roll into. Do you know what I mean? As for joining up, there weren't really any purpose in doing it. I didn't think, oh yeah, I want to be a soldier. It was more of, I just want to earn money and get a job as soon as we get out.
Good way of getting paid straight away, innit?
Straight away. That was it. Pretty much it.
So, obviously, when you went in, obviously you've done your training, you've gone in. How did you find, like, going from like a normal life like we have as a civilian to adjusting? Obviously, being a joker at school as well,
Yeah.
and being able to mess about with thingy to then that big structured life that it is. Because obviously, it's not a joke and a mess about when you get in there, is it?
No. So when it were all shits and gigs when we first joined up. I joined up with 3 or 4 of my mates from school, and we all got attached to the same thing. So we all joined. We joined at the same time. We all joined the same corps, which were Royal Engineers. And when we got there at 16-year-old, we had a nice big chip on his shoulder. That didn't last long. It turns you from being a kid to an adult very, very quick. Discipline wise, it gives you some sort of structure to your life, to be fair. This day and age, it's what a lot of people are needing, to be fair. Yeah. It's something that when you're at that age and you've still got that mess about, you can't be messing about. Yeah, you can't be messing about. It's something that if you mess about, your mate dies.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. So yeah, that was pretty much it.
So obviously, when you went in, how long was it from going into doing? We'll start obviously with like your combat tour. How long was it before you did your first combat tour?
I joined the forces in 2006. I was 16-year-old, so I couldn't officially go on tour until I was 18. By the time I hit regiment, I was close to maybe 17 and a half. So I missed out on the first Iraq, my first chance to go to Iraq, should I say, not the first Iraq. But from that, I hit Herrick 13.
That was Afghan, wasn't it?
So that was Afghanistan, and I believe that were like 2012, something like that. That was my first tour.
So obviously when you first went out to Afghan, what did it involve, and what did you have to do out there for yourself?
So my job role, my first tour of Afghan, they made something called Talisman. So Talisman was designed to get vehicles and like material wagons and stuff like that, even down to infantry vehicles from A to B. So we our main purpose was to find IEDs. So we'd go out, we'd prove a route from Bastion all the way through to Afob, somewhere through in Afghanistan. And what we'd have is we'd have a pack of maybe five vehicles, all search teams in, and we'd be the lead. We'd take the lead on that journey. So if we hit an IED, we would take the hit
Or the
instead.
first line of that.
We're first in contact with an IED instead of a pack that's got less armour, and mostly important the stuff that are on them vehicles are materials, essentials, food, you name it. That we could be taking a pack of maybe 100 vehicles in a convoy. So we go from Bastion.
Not a little thing.
No,
Is
it's
it,
not.
to be
No.
moving.
So we're a big target. Do you know what I mean? And problem with Afghanistan is a lot of routes you can only go down certain roads.
And they know that,
And they know that. It's their country, do you know what I mean? So we're playing in a part that they played in years.
Mm.
So for us to go from one destination to another destination, they know that route's getting tracked every other day. We're going down the same route every other day. It gives them opportunity to dig stuff in, set ambushes, you name it. They know what they're doing.
So I bet finding IEDs or getting ambushed was a near daily occurrence every day you was
Yeah,
out there, wasn't
pretty
it?
much, yeah. So I think we did a couple of. I think we went on Route Mars a couple of times, which were a route in Afghanistan, and I think there were 90 something IEDs found on that one route. So it's not something to tread lightly. Do you know what I mean?
No, it's not. It's not something that ends well.
No,
either, is it?
no. It's something where some of these IEDs they range from little to big IEDs, where the sort of daisy chain them.
Mm.
So they'll have one big IED, and then off it looks like a spider, and then what they'll have is they'll have other bombs attached to that one.
I've
bomb.
seen pictures of them when they pick them up and it's
They
all.
pick them up and it's all like spidered.
Yeah.
So I call them spider IEDs. For simple fact is, there's so many that's attached to one. Once one goes off,
It's just like a chain. It's just like a chain reaction.
yeah,
isn't
chain
it?
reaction. Yeah, they all go off. So if you can imagine, you might only have a really small IED. That really small IED's turned into a massive IED, to where they were using old Russian mines, old Russian bombshells, packing them with stuff. They had masses of IED factories throughout the compounds that we had to go in and search and clear out and stuff like that. So yeah, they know what they're doing.
So I mean, for you as well, then. So you'll have seen, because obviously you don't ever find everyone, did you? So you will have seen them go off and the effects it has.
When I was on tour, I hit 5 IEDs. So I should have done what? My first one were in a wadi. A wadi is basically where you've got your land and then they dig like a trench and then you land again, so it carries water. And that was my first one, and wow. I hit it, my front of my vehicle hit it, I went down into wadi to come up to the other side. It my front end hit, and as it went off, it shot sand straight through my vents, and the whole cab were black. Couldn't see anything.
Just completely.
So I'm sat there and I'm like, the first initial thing's like, wow, what the chuffing hell with that.
So what had they done? Did it under like the water line? So obviously as you go in,
there weren't water in it because it's so hot.
Yeah.
It's not often that it rains. So they're usually just dried waddies, and it's fairly deep. They're not massively deep. They're fairly shallow, so you can pass a vehicle through them. But what they've done is that I don't specifically think that they put it there knowing that we were going to travel that route. Somebody had just dug one in. So it were one of them where it were a chance one. That was my first one. It were only small. It didn't make a massive damage, but the backlash from all the dust and all the sand, and it just filled cab. It filled cab. It were pitch black. So we're all, is everybody all right? We're checking all this, checking the sends, making sure. Obviously, there were me and my commander, so we're going to take first front.
sat
You
in
know what I mean?
front,
We're sat
yeah.
in front. But yeah, I ate five IEDs. The second one ripped my wheel off. The third one put, they call them roller wheels. So basically they sit on front of your wagon like that. So instead of us wagging, hitting the IED, it's like an extended bit of kit that sits on the front of the machine. So as that runs over it, it blows that up instead of blowing our machine up.
Yeah, that makes that first contact.
Yeah, that makes that first
than
contact. So we ran over one of them. Obviously, that got blew to bits. The worst one I had was I was driving. No, I weren't. I was top cover for an SV, which is basically a man truck. So it's basically just a lorry that's armoured. And we're going down. We're dropping some helium off to an American site for their All-Star balloon, which is basically a massive balloon with a hell load of cameras all over it that see for miles.
What do they do? Just put that above base and then
they stick that above base, so that goes up in air, and then they have somebody that monitors it 24/7. But they needed helium because they were running out of helium, so we had to take a convoy from A to B to drop a load of helium off. So the route that we took went straight through like a little village, and what they'd done is this village, it must have been tracked often, so used often. And one of these, well, the day that we went down, it were quite funny, to be fair. It was funny, but it's not funny. So my mate who was driving, he turned around and he's like, I've got to get out, I need toilet. Now these are like big ass vehicles, do you know what I mean? They're heavy. Even like the doors are massively armoured and stuff like that. So he jumps out at wagon. No body armour on, no helmet. He's like, I'm having a quick piss and I'm getting back in. All right, mate. Yeah, no worries. I'll keep lookout like. So he jumps out, jumps back in. We must have rolled a meter. It must have gone a meter. Boom. And what happened were the IED that they'd made, they put into a wall. They put it into a wall, right? But to be fair, I should have died.
Got to lead in.
But what they'd done is, the IED they put the wrong way around. So I ended up with a back blast of that IED instead of the front blast. If we'd have had front blast, it'd have gone straight through the side of the cab.
I'm guessing that's where you was sat.
Well, I was stood. So I was stood on top with my Jimpy, which is a machine gun. And when it blew, it tilted cab. But if it had gone through, 9 out of 10, I'd have probably lost my legs, without a doubt. That'd have been probably the minimum damage.
I'm guessing that was a big old IED.
Oh, it were big. Yeah, it were big. It were big. It had not smashed, but it had cracked all, like spidered. You know when like a bullet hits armoured glass.
Yeah.
It had spidered my glass, ripped all bore armour off at side of vehicle. So that was. I smashed my front two teeth out. I ended up going back to Bastion and having my teeth fixed. One were massively chipped and other one were cracked, something like that. So that were the worst IED that I hit out of 5.
Proper big boy.
And you think about it, we only rolled a meter.
So I mean, after
and
them getting out,
that IED were like remote fed to a compound.
Right.
which were literally not even 50 meters away. So he was sat watching us.
Yeah, he
do
was
that.
waiting,
He
wasn't
were waiting for us. If we'd have been a meter closer and he'd have jumped out for a wee, he'd have been dead, without a doubt.
it? Some extreme look going on there, isn't it?
Oh, I've lost all my cat lives. I have lost 9 lives quite easily.
So, but like the IEDs, obviously they have the pressure plates, don't they?
Mhm.
And that's obviously barring that one where he's watching you. So when a vehicle hits it, obviously it explodes, doesn't it? So how sensitive are they though? So like he's
Oh, they're
jumped out.
sensitive.
So if he'd have walked on one,
Yeah.
would it just
Yeah.
blow him up,
Yeah.
or is
There's
it?
loads of ways to detonate an ID.
I didn't know if that's
remote.
like a certain weight on them pressure plates or.
No, some of them blow themselves up by planting them, because that's how sensitive they are.
Jeez.
You can stand on them. You can put a bullet in them. You
Mm.
can do anything really. Ride a bike over it.
It'll just.
It'll just blow. It's all it is just weight transfer.
Mm.
That's all it is. When you see it in movies, and you see a kid that stands on an IED in a film and don't move. That's obviously a different mine. But that little bit of pressure when it goes click, that is it.
That's all it needs.
That's
isn't
all
it?
it needs. Yeah.
Bang.
It's just 2 metal plates, something that's metal, and all it needs to do is just touch.
So it's making contact. It's just
It's
like
just
a
making
contact,
contact.
and it
It is just
obviously
literally
sparks
making
the wire
contact.
then to.
Attached to a battery somewhere,
Mm.
and then as soon as them 2 metals touch, your battery basically says go,
Yeah.
and then
So it sends like a signal
it
to the
sends a
battery, which
signal. Yeah,
the
boom.
battery then signals to bomb and.
Yeah. To detonator, and
goes.
detonator goes off and lights everything up.
Jesus Christ.
But obviously, there's loads of ways to set them off. It's not just a
Mm.
pressure plate. You can do it by phone. You can do it by, like I said, run a wire all the way up to a compound and just press 2 buttons like they see in films. Yeah, everything that you see in a film, they can do.
Did you make contact after any of them IEDs went off then, or they?
To be fair, I
Or
think
usually they just wellied away and.
I think we have made contact from certain IEDs going off and stuff like that, because 9 out of 10 when they set an IED off, more than likely, if it's not just on a plain open route and they're hoping to get somebody just by planting one, they're usually ambushes.
Yeah.
So
IED
IED
slows
goes
you
off,
down.
you're hoping that everybody's flapping around and they're running around and not knowing what's happening, and then here it comes.
They knew what they were doing, didn't they?
Yeah, they're not daft. They're not daft.
It's their playground, though,
Their
isn't
playground.
it? It's
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
But so obviously, after seeing like all that and doing all that, what was it like for you mentally? Obviously, when you was out there, and then obviously coming back here after
So
that first tour.
when I were out there, after the first 2 IEDs, maybe, it become normal. It become, maybe, is it right word in saying fun? It were a laugh. You know that you were in danger, but it didn't make anything any different, knowing that there's a possibility that you could hit one. So, in my eyes, while I were out there, I were fine. I had a nickname of IED Slayer by my commander because I hit that many. I believe when we were out there, if you hit 3 IEDs, they would send you home. And they asked me if I would stay out there because they didn't have enough drivers. So I'm like, yeah, no problem. Do you know what I mean? It didn't bother me.
How long was it? So
You average 6 to 7 months by the time you're doing your R&R and stuff like that. It rocks up. You do a minimum of six months, but by the time you've done messing about and that, it's close to
it's a long time.
6.5 months. Yeah, it's a long time. Yeah, it's not that. It's if you've got a family. To be fair, I were pretty single then, so I didn't really have a family when I first went out, and I did tell him. But if I could imagine if I did, it'd have been a lot harder.
Yeah,
a lot harder.
Mentally, it'd be harder.
Yeah, mentally
it'd
have been harder. Yeah, because you're worrying about home. You're worrying. The main thing is when you're out there is to forget about everything. Concentrate on your job, and don't think about all else. Because if you think about all else, that's when everything goes wrong.
Mm.
So
You've got to be on ball
yeah, you've got to be on
24/7,
ball.
haven't
Yeah,
you? It's,
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
you say, it's not just you, is
No,
it? It's
no.
like you've said to me before, it like becomes a family,
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah,
it? So,
family, 100%.
so you're not just looking out for yourself, are you?
No.
It's everybody else you're with.
Yeah.
And
So from me getting back, I thought, to be fair, I thought we were fine. But then I had nightmares. I was sleeping on the floor. I was lashing out. I was angry. We went to, we'd go out and we'd do like a shop, tannoy in Morrison's. You know when it beeps?
yeah.
Wow. So when I got back, I would like it for maybe 6-7 weeks, maybe, I want to say. But from me, I didn't really see anybody out like that. It was more of a, you think it's just normal, really.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then from that, dream stopped. And yeah, that was pretty much it, really. The tannoys and stuff like that were more of a, because when a motor goes off, you usually get a tannoy, and then you usually
I'm guessing
take
that's
cover.
a motor incoming.
Yeah, motor incoming. So
base.
you usually get like, you take cover or you get as low as you can get. Do you know what I mean? How it's designed is when it hits floor, it comes up like that.
Yeah.
So you make yourself lowest target you can make. So that just triggers something to think. Fucking hell, do you know what I mean?
Well, I did it to you in here building this, didn't
I? Yeah.
With nail gun.
Yeah, with nail gun.
So sweat rolling off.
Yeah. It's something. It's sort of like a trigger. It's like a trigger. It just sets you straight off. But you don't expect it. It's
but I suppose
your
after
body.
6 or 7 months of every little noise and thingy possibly being something bad, to come out of that, you surely can't just expect anybody to just come out and it's normal. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So it's, when I got back, it were fairly odd for first. I'd say first 6 weeks, and then it just started to ease off. I was back on camp. I was back training. We had several weeks leave, which sort of, not say sort me out, but eased it up. So yeah, that's how we were. That's how I were when I got back.
So obviously from coming back to then, because you did a second tour of Afghan, didn't you?
Yes.
How long did you obviously have back at home? But then obviously getting that phone call, or however they tell you, how do you mentally prepare knowing that you've got to go back to that situation? Like, how did it obviously affect you thinking, oh, I've got to go back out there?
There's a big thing. What I say is, we joined up for that. So that is all I knew. From 16-year-old, that is all I knew. So for us, it's mad in saying it, but for us to be told that we're going on tour equals more money.
Yeah.
And not just that, we are doing the job that we are trained to do. They turn around and tell us to go, right, you're going to Afghan. Right, all right, yeah, no worries, not a problem. Do you know what I mean? It's something that it's programmed into you, where that's your job. That's what you're going to do. To a point where sometimes it's like, yeah, come on, lads, we're going. We're going back.
Excitement going back.
It's a bit of excitement. We're going back. Now, my second tour wasn't as bad as my first. So I did Eric 18, and that was more towards fob rebuilding, more construction wise. So we're fixing up fobs, we're taking down fobs, building and fixing camps and stuff like that. It was more construction based. We called it a strip out tour.
Yeah.
Where that's how we were basically stripping out compounds and fixing compounds up that they were looking at keeping in to last the duration of the actual Afghan war. And basically like keep peace camps, like your bastions and stuff like that, and that were pretty much it. The second tour weren't really as
Not as much
bad.
combat involved.
Yeah, it weren't
going
really as
out
bad
and-
as my first one. Don't get me wrong, we got contacted. We were on top of vehicles when we were stripping out, and you could hear bullets pinging off at side of cabins and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? And on that tour we had, I believe it were on news where a Gurkha saved a full compound, where nationals had climbed upside a compound and nearly took a sentry. So basically a watch, it's like a watchtower basically, where everybody could keep their eyes out and stuff like that, and you stag on that, so it's manned 24/7. And somebody climbed up and basically got in, and they had a bit of a fight, and he fought him off basically. And if he'd have took that watchtower, he had a machine gun with 200, 300, 400 rounds that he could just turn around and face straight into compound.
It wouldn't have been a pretty ending, would it?
Oh, it could have. By time it could have unleashed at least a full mag, as in like a full 100 rounds in a tin.
And I suppose
easily.
When you're in base and you're doing something, I suppose you're not as
you're
not as alert as
No,
when you're driving down a dusty track somewhere in a mountain height.
You don't really cut about with all your body armor on and stuff like that. And but when we were there, they drove a 4x4. That might have been on news as well. They drove a 4x4 with a load of bombs in back. They blew side of a compound up, and then from that, maybe I think there were about 50 to 80 insurgents that tried storming camp. But they fell unlucky really, because where they blew it up, it was dinner time.
Right.
And where they were having dinner, everybody were there. So everybody was sat opposite the hole that they'd just blown up. So as they were running in, obviously lads were basically shooting them.
Yeah.
So they weren't coming in. Do you know what I mean? But if it had been any other time, they could have quite easily stormed.
I suppose if it was night time or something, they could quite
easily. Yeah.
But
yeah,
like you say, luckily,
so that was pretty much my second tour.
Well, not as eventful as the first, but still.
There were still enough there.
Yeah, just to keep you going.
Yeah.
So obviously, barring the combat tours, what else? Because obviously you said for 11 years, didn't you? It wasn't just a couple of tours of Afghan and League, did you?
About 10.5 years, 10 years, something like that, near close to 11 or something daft.
So obviously you've done other bits in the meantime, haven't you?
Yeah, so I've done a couple of construction tours. We went to Belize, done some construction tours in Belize, built some helicopter pads, done some fixed some roads up for them. What else did we do? We built them a swimming pool on the actual site that we go to. It's just different. It's different. You know what I mean? I've done several training places. So I've been to Jordan. Did some training out in Jordan. Canada's a big one for engineers, so they call it the Prairie. I think I've been to Canada maybe 5 or 6 times.
Not very warm, is it?
No. And it's that Prairie is just a massive open field. So basically what they do is they get loads of battalions, infantry, engineers, your mechanics and stuff like that, and they have a mini war. So what they do is they put, like, you know, when you go to like tag shooting, where you shoot and you all light up. So everybody's got some sort of that on, even like tanks and stuff like that, and you've got your artillery there, and so it's just like a mini war, and then you act as if you would do your role. So infantry would obviously be fighting infantry, and vice versa. Engineers would be sporting, doing material runs and stuff like that, and so it's just a big training big training course, really.
Was it yours just like a bit of a team building between
Yeah,
sort of
yeah,
us
yeah,
and the
of course it is, yeah.
Canadians
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
whoever else got involved? It's
I don't
so I'm
really.
guessing on a night you'd all come together.
Yeah,
and
I don't
have a
really
laugh
think Canadians didn't really get involved. It were more just military. It was more just British military.
Right.
So there weren't no attachments. We've got a little play site in Canada, so we use that for us training basically. Well, that's just fun, like
a
fun.
good laugh.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, it was horrible but fun.
What, because of weather and stuff like that? Or?
Yeah, weather were all right. Sometimes it'd absolutely hammer it down, and we'd do little stupid challenges like we used to get boxer shorts issued, and we used to call them sweatpants, and basically they're like cycling pants.
And like lycra spandex
yeah,
sort of thing.
and then what we used to do is we used to set challenges on see how long you could stay in them, and see how long you'd wear them for. And I think I wore one pair of boxers for like a full month.
That's good with that.
Which is grotted, you know what I mean? But yeah, it's a laugh. It is what it is. Do you know what I mean? That's what we get paid to do. And
I suppose you got to, when you're doing that sort of job, you got to make like light of a bad situation that you can be in.
Yeah, of course you have. Yeah, you go into stages where it's absolutely banging it down, and you don't really want to be there. It's freezing cold. So
if you don't laugh, you'll cry though, don't you?
So
it's one of them.
It's pretty much one of them. You want to go home, but all you're thinking about is, well, we'll get all right here, and we can go out and have a laugh and go and have something to eat and have a good piss up. You know what I mean? And
I mean, 'cause you get to see a good fair bit of the world as well.
Yeah, you can do.
You've been a fair few places, haven't you?
Yeah. Where else? Once you've done a tour at Afghan, you usually do, or Iraq, or I think it's Iraq. I haven't really been, but they usually take you to like a decompression camp. So we went to Cyprus, so I went there twice. You spend a couple of days there. They basically try and put you into like a normality scene, to where you've come from a combat scene, to where you come into Cyprus and you have a few drinks, you blow off some steam, you go karting or something, you go into the sea, or you go.
So it's like
swimming.
A bit of a transition.
Yeah, so it's like a transition. They try and transition you from combat to normal civilization, but controlled. Is it long enough? Probably not. I think you do like 2 or 3 days there.
Yeah.
Do
they sort of keep an eye on you there?
Yeah,
as well?
yeah,
sort of like,
yeah.
Obviously, if people are
so
struggling,
you've got all your management and stuff like that there, and we usually have a party, and we usually have a good drink and stuff like that, and that sometimes turns a little bit west, should I say?
A bit rowdy.
Yeah, usually they limit you to like maybe 2. You'll get drink tokens, so you usually get like two drinks or something like that. Well, some lads don't drink at all, so you've got an extra 2 tokens there. If you've got 4 people that don't want to drink, you've got an extra 8 tokens. So in end, a lot of them end up getting pissed, and it turns rowdy, or they end up fighting or grappling, and grappling turns into fighting, or they get boxing gloves out and just starts one-handed punching each other, and just stupid stuff. Do you know what I mean? But that's what makes it livable. If you don't have a laugh, it can be a very, very hard job. Do you know what I mean?
The thing is, if you didn't have that laugh mentally, it probably would be harder as well, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Because if you were just sat there like,
if you're sat there thinking about it all the time, then yeah. If you're busy doing something, it takes your mind off it.
Yeah.
You're not focusing on what your problems are. You're focusing on what you're doing at that specific time, which is pretty much what you want. You know what I mean? You don't want your head in that bad space.
You can't have it in that space when you're out there, can you?
No.
'Cause it's like you say, that's when accidents and stuff can go wrong.
Yeah.
Like you say, you can't take your eye off the ball, can you?
No.
So